the screen that you have is also mirrored right here. So you've got this to look at. You don't have to break your neck. You're welcome. Yeah, so anybody who doesn't know this, there's this lovely little confidence monitor here so you can see what's up on the big screen.
Okay, awesome.
All right, ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Awesome, take it away, Eric.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Eric Steele. I work at a company called 8451. We are part of Kroger, grocery retailer, and we do a lot of data and data science work. There's a library that was made by not me, but the folks at the company that I really like using, and I think you guys might be interested in it too. It's called La Brea, and it helps you find functional and declarative data set functions. What does that look like? Let's take an example. So here we've got a data set that has stores and transactions in it, right? There's a store, people bought things at it. So we put everything in a single file. That's not ideal, right? This is what a lot of us do in notebooks with refer type thing, right? And we can see here, right? We can find the top region, we can find the top store in that region, which is not necessarily the top store overall. Okay, cool, awesome. Let's make that better. So then this is cutting out additional code. We're just jumping to the end. Top store in the top region. So all that code in one big block is hard to test. Let's rewrite it in functional style, right? There's our answer. It's much easier to test, but you can see down the bottom we have a lot of boilerplate code, right? Or maybe not boilerplate, but we're having to link these functions together. That's kind of annoying. We're also going to save off the intermediate parts. We also now have implicit dependencies between these steps, right? The combine function uses the store function and the transactions function, but that's not called out anywhere necessarily, other than maybe comments. It's fine in this project. On big projects, it gets very important. So let's make it explicit, right? And we can see here, we can, this is calling it once, right? We see each function's called once. Okay, fantastic. We now make it explicit. The function calls the previous function that it's dependent on. However, we're using some of these functions in more than one place. We have now repetition. We're duplicating work because we were more explicit. That stinks. Could we get both? Can we run things once, but still be very explicit about what our dependencies are, right? Get to more of a declarative style. You can see here the other benefit is at the bottom, we just call the function that we actually want for the final result. We didn't have to call all those intermediate steps. Can we do that without reading much more? And that's what La Brea helps us out with. So this is La Brea. Go ahead and read it. It gives you a set of decorators, and you kind of think of this as similar to how Fast API handles dependency injection. So you can see here. Everything ran once. We showed the final declarative statement at the end, right? And yeah, that was our objective, right? We've written in a declarative way. The final statement is the thing that we actually care about for this. All of the dependencies are expressed in the dataset definitions themselves, right? If I look at a dataset, I can tell what datasets it depends on. And because it's caching those intermediate steps, if a single refers to a dependency, and another function refers to that same dependency, it won't run it twice. It's smart enough to realize that and handle it for you. So, fantastic, right? I really like using it. That's not the only thing that it can do. There are classes that can give you some more sophisticated object-oriented behavior. There are abstract or parameterizable data sets, right? You can do pipelines. There's a bunch of things in this library. The thing I would say is if you're interested, the GitHub's up there, right? 8451/La Brea. But if you're not going to use the library that folks at my company came up with, I think the things that this allows you to do, in particular explicit notation of dependencies, is something that has made my projects a lot better. I think it's something that a lot of us would find value in. And so I would encourage all of you to look for opportunities for that, right? Can we have things be more explicit? Can we make it easier, not just on ourselves, but on the folks that come after us on our projects, to know what's going on and just have better code bases? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. Next is Shanae with creating interactive Gen AI apps powered by Streamlit. On deck is Josh Schneider. Yeah, it is a good spot for a dad joke. What's a good dad joke? What's a good dad joke? Okay, I'll steal that. I'll repeat that. In case nobody heard that, I only know 25 letters of the English language. I don't know why. On a similar note, does anyone know what a pirate's favorite letter is? You might think it was R, but his first love be the C.
So is that B or C?
Okay. Oh, you need to open up your displays and do the displays thing. Cool. Do you have that? You got it. All right. I will load up my Works Fun Dad Jokes channel in just a minute when I'm through between talks here. Yeah, the default is mirror, which is dangerous. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Looks like we got it.
Great.
Awesome. Take it away today.
So, first of all, again, thank you so much for organizing this PyOhio event. Have loved it so far. My lightning talk is going to be around creating interactive generative AI applications powered by Streamlit and open source large language models. I'm Shivai. I work as a developer advocate at Pieces for Developers, a productivity tool. So first, the 2023-2024 have been filled with the keywords like Llama 3, GPT, generative AI, RAG, fine-tuning. All these are under the umbrella of generative AI. And we are living in a world where everywhere you see, right, every new day, there's a new large language model that comes up. And I mean, this competition amongst companies to release the next best model with the best model values, they are the craze right now. And of course, we can throw what generative AI is. So it's a part of this entire generative AI artificial intelligence where you can create new content on the fly with the help of these specially trained models. And of course, LLMs, they are these deep learning algorithms that have come up from that basic neural network to now becoming multi-model networks that they're very complex, right? As the large language models is. And we see that the generative AI adoption is also growing everywhere. Right? Every major company, every major product is integrating generative AI in some or the other form. So, of course, the question arises, how can we create Gen AI applications? How can we create our own ChatGPT style of applications? And there, the Streamlit is the big winner. Streamlit is a completely open source project. It's a Python framework that allows you, that allows data scientists and AI/ML engineers to be able to write dynamic web-based Python applications completely written in Python, but they have really nice UI. So they don't have to learn JavaScript or HTML, CSS to create these visual interfaces, because a lot of times data scientists will be creating a lot of charts. So let's say if they want to use these charts and show it to everyone, they can simply use Pythonic functions and create these very visually looking good examples. And so there is a dedicated section within the Streamlit application on the Streamlit website where you can build powerful applications, whether it's entire customized chatbots or much more. So for that, go to streamlit.io/generative-AI. Now we'll basically look at how you can basically create open source large language models, how you can leverage them. Now you can use tools like Ollama or Pieces SDKs that provide you the ability to use open source large language models like Llama 3 or even Gemma, or even Ollama. You can download any large language model that you want that's currently supported, and you can build an application. Now I'll do some live coding. I know we have only 5 minutes, but let's try to do it. So So I have over here what I call as PyOhio live. So what I will first do is I will import Streamlit, and then I will import the Copilot SDK. Then what we'll do is we will basically use this running on the Windows 1000. In case it's Olama, we'll be running on I think it's some 3500. But we'll give it a title. So let's say we'll give it a title of PyOhio 2024 Lightning Talk. We will give it a header. And of course, thanks to large language models, I'm able to write this code so quickly. Then I will give it a header of ask a question about PyOhio. And I'll give it a first question, which is what is PyOhio? I'll create a conversation button called to create this conversation. Then I'll have a function that I've just created right now, which will basically create a conversation with the GPT model. In this case, I'm using Llama 3 as my model, so it will create a new conversation over here, and it will send this message across. Then once I receive a response from the large language model, I will print it with the help of this model. So let's save this, and let's go ahead and run this function. So we'll use Streamlit run PyOhio. So let's see, PyOhio live. Perfect. And there you go. So we have the lightning talk. Let's ask a question. So I can ask it, when was PyOhio launched? And please, organizers, let me know if this is correct, because we are relying on a large language model. So it says that it's a regional conference held in Ohio and it's launched in 2008. So in less than I guess 5 seconds, we were able to create a ChatGPT like generative AI application, completely open source. And here you can use any large language model as you want. Now, of course, if you go to the examples that are provided from Streamlit, I think they have a lot of different examples. If you go to the Streamlit IO application, they have a bunch of examples specifically for generative AI, where you can build a lot of different example codes that you might have. You can see that you can build a chatbot, you can have, you can integrate LangChain and other apps. But yeah,
Thank you very much. Next is Josh Schneider with Inspect is Fun. Tom Featherston, you are on deck. And while Josh gets set up here, does anybody want to hear my pizza joke? And it's too cheesy. The problem here is I'm now at an age where I can't see my phone unless it's this far away from me, and I cannot do progressive lenses, so it's a bummer. Yeah, so we had a pirate joke earlier on a similar theme. It turns out my seasickness comes in waves. You want one more, Josh?
One more.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else got a golf? Join the club.
Alright, is that viewable?
Yeah.
Everybody read that text? Wonderful! Alright.
All right, do it.
Woo. Let's take out rogue characters in there. Alright, I'll talk really quickly about Inspect, because I lately have been playing with Inspect more often than I ever expected that I would. Inspect, expect, that's interesting. Anyway, to start playing with Inspect, we gotta create a function. So I created this little function called announce. Actually, I'm gonna drop the text size just a little bit. Called announce. This is just a format text. This is what Moshe likes to call a toy example. It gives you complicated enough to play around with, but easy enough that you can do something cool. Here's how we use announce. So announce is just used to format text for output. We can do titles, and we can do frames around text. All a really simple function call, right? Okay, so I promised you we're going to talk about Inspect. Magic starts by importing Inspect. What's some things that we can do with Inspect? Well, we can get the signature of a function. For instance, I can pass it, I can call Inspect.signature, pass it my function, and it gives me back a signature object. You can see down here in the local namespace, there's a signature object there. That signature object has information like the parameters that the function takes. With each parameter, we can get the name of that parameter, we can get the type of that parameter, we can get the default value for that parameter. This is really cool and useful, right? If you wanted to, say, write a documentation generator that could scan your live code and print out all of the information and use a reasonable format like Markdown, or HTML, this is probably what you use to inspect all of those live objects. Let's say you want to get the call arguments of a function. Like you want to be able to log what was called, and you want to be able to match up positional arguments with the keyword that they go with, or keyword arguments with the keyword that they were passed with. There's get call args. It returns a nice dictionary of all of the arguments and which variable they go into. This is kind of interesting to be able to show the different ways. So these are the different ways that I called announced earlier, but I'm passing it the different arguments, and you can see where things are being matched. Like for instance, when I pass title equals Josh, you'll notice that gets matched into title down here. Likewise, when I call with more than one here, you'll see that first one gets passed to text, and the second one gets passed to more text. Kind of cool? All right, there are a bunch of predicate functions for testing what something is. You want to check if something is a function, or if it is a class. Super useful. There are also ones for is method, and is traceback, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can also take a look at the stack and frames. So this is the stack right now, and here's the current frame. Now, what could we use the current frame for? We could use it for getting things like, these are all the locals that are in there right now. Or, these are all the globals that are in there, and man, are there a lot of globals. This gives you really, really useful information if you wanted to, say, log out all of the frames in the stack that led to, say, an error that you're getting or something like that. This is how some of the magic behind like PyTest works. When a PyTest fails, it shows you the stack that led up to that, including the values of the variables that were passed in at the time. So hopefully this is wet your whistle to play around with inspect a little bit more. So go import inspect and let the magic begin.
Thank you, Josh. Next up, Tom Featherston, please come up to the stage to talk about Python, learning hacks, and my stroke. Give you a couple minutes here while I do some more of this fun stuff. What is a ninja's favorite type of shoes?
I don't know.
Sneakers. I don't know if anybody else has this challenge in cars, or driving cars. I couldn't figure out how the seatbelt works, but then it just clicked.
You're definitely louder here. I'm trying to shut it down.
Oh, this is like this is close to my experience of being sleep deprived. So why did the man run around his bed? He was trying to catch up on sleep.
But this case is always louder. Yeah.
I love this. This is one of my favorite things about my workplace is we have a Slack channel that is just dad jokes. It's cool. It's like, we don't, yes. So I can tell you, the first time I got to use a universal remote control, I thought to myself, this changes everything. All right. One more. This is going to be a belated pride joke. If that's okay. I believe this stays inside the COC. Find out. Shopping for antiques won't make you gay, but it might make you buy curios. Yeah, I'll that's okay. Find the line in here. Okay. Oh, this is good. So some people know that I dungeon mastered Curse of Strahd, which is a spooky vampire thing. So a man was caught stealing in a supermarket today while balanced on the shoulders of a couple of vampires. He was charged with shoplifting on 2 counts. All right, good?
Yes.
All right, take it away, Tom. Everybody get up.
Okay. So, about 6 years ago, I had a stroke. And these are some of the effects that I got of that stroke. My coordination, I couldn't use the smartphone or anything. It affected my speech. It still affects my it affected my comment timing, but there was no keeping me suppressed. I kept on trying anyway. Actually, some of that came back. Memory retrieval, like people, finding people, or even someone I know for quite a long time, can take 3 to 20 minutes before the name decides to pop in my head again. So I had to develop a new memory technique, which is actually applicable to Python programming. Because you know we've got classes, we've got methods, there's a lot of stuff that we like to have at least minimally up here. So I'll show you that memory trick. In fact, taste, it made me a lot more emotional. I can't sit through a Hallmark movie without crying. It's ridiculous. But no, so those are some of the effects I've got from stroke. So the hacks, namespaces, modules. Like the way I think of modules, I think of like cookie trays. So that's your cookie tray is your namespace. It's in the file. All the names are like printed out on blocks that are in that tray. It's only when you're in that tray that you can see those names. When you import a tray, it's like you put a portal in another file that you can look through and look at those names from above. So onto the memory trick I came up with names. So I know a number of mnemonic tricks, in books, how to remember names and that sort of thing. None of them ever really worked for me. Now that I really need it, I came up with using finger spelling from American Sign Language tool and get a cheat sheet. Might permit or not. So I just do its initials. M, 3 fingers, it makes sense. P, you're picking up a quarter. Oh, actually, that's 3 fingers. So, and in finger spelling, it's really sort of the kinetics of like forming the letters. I do on right coming out the right side. I might even see his name coming out of the nameplate. For not. So I just do that real quick, right? For not. And that choose a name. So I thought, I'm studying deeply now, and I'm just going over dictionaries. And there are 3 types of dictionaries that are commonly used. There's dict, which is built in type, then in collections, there's, so that'd be just deep, and then you would, there's default dictionaries. So you can parse things, you gotta parse the words out of the names. And sometimes they use underscores to separate, same case. Sometimes they use capitalization. Default dict, they don't do anything, it's not be human until the AI comes along. They parse default, a D, and a dict is another D. So I use that. Then, if we're gonna dot into a method, you might dot into copy.
I apologize, I did not call out the on deck person. Biography, come on up, you're next. And on deck is going to be Carl James. please correct me if I got names wrong or anything. I'm okay? Okay. Thank you. All right. So y'all know like the Where's Waldo books? Do you know why Waldo only wears stripes? He doesn't want to be spotted. I don't know if any of the rest of you have expanding middles as you age, but I personally like to start on a diet, but I've got too much on my plate right now. All right, over to you. Take it away, please save me from myself.
Hi everyone, hope you all have a great day already. So I'm Pragati. I'm here to quickly discuss the topic basics of text mining in Python. I chose this topic because I thought text mining is going to be very tricky, but after I learned, I thought it's like really cool, fun, and very, very, very important. So what's text mining? It's essentially a branch of data mining, but just like the name says, the data we use here is text data. So just like other numeric data mining, text mining also uses data to identify patterns, trends, dig any insights, and make business-informed decisions. Some of the business applications are like search engines, chatbots, virtual assistants, like previously in the previous presentation we've seen like Q&A, text completion tasks. Text mining also helps in doing sentiment analysis, understand any customer feedbacks, do kind of text classification, like your emails probably are filled with spams, right? So text mining can also help you in filtering those spams and detect frauds and so on. So just like the numeric data mining, we have data pre-processing, right? So for text processing, there's also text processing, and some of those steps are tokenization, POS, normalization, and so on. But I'll be only covering the first four very briefly with examples. Also, some of the technologies we use for text mining are the libraries NLTK and Spacey. Again, this is not like an exclusive list, but these are some of the popular libraries. So the example text I'm going to use throughout the rest of the presentation is, which also doubles like a bit of an introduction again. So my name is Pragati. I like Python programming. I'm attending PyOhio 2024 for the first time. So like we saw in the previous text processing steps, the first one is tokenization. Tokenization is nothing but it takes the entire text and breaks it down into individual words or sentences. Here, please look out for the output in this red box. Here you see like the output is actually a couple of all the words in the entire text or the sentence. The second one is POS tagging, which is parts of speech. So basically it assigns the parts of speech to each of the word in your input text. Like you actually see, mine has been assigned a possessive pronoun, name has been assigned a noun, and so on. The third one is normalization. Just like your numeric data normalization, you also have to normalize text data. So here we normalization essentially means you convert all the letters into lowercase, and you also remove any punctuation that it has. The other method is stemming. Stemming is basically reducing the entire word into its root word. Like for example, my text has attended. So stemming essentially cuts it down to the root word, which is attend. The third one is lemmatization. Lemmatization also is a kind of stemming, but here the context also is taken into consideration. Like programming doesn't stem to program, instead the programming stays programming. So this is some code chunk here, like you actually see the difference between stems and lemmas in the output. The program stays programming in the lemmas. organizations. So now that we have learned a bit about pre-processing, so we next have so many options open and how, like, so many options open to perform text analysis.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, next up is Carl James talking about tracking college baseball rosters. Reggie Tintina, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, I'm so sorry, is on deck to follow. Oh, it's cast to do the wrong cool. Yeah, good, thank you. I'll fix that. Good to go.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, I am not a professional programmer, but I have two hobbies that take a ton of my time. One is writing some Python code, and the other is following Indiana University baseball. Does anybody know who this is? Any local area baseball fans? It's that gentleman there, Tim Herron, who now plays for the Guardians. And he pitched for Indiana University back in 2019, and that's when I started following his track. Now what I do is help maintain a little website that tracks this college baseball team throughout the year. And one thing that I couldn't do for years was, over the course of the summer, a lot of things change as to how the team roster is going to be put together for the practices in the fall and eventually the sport itself in the spring. So there are high schoolers that have committed to play at the university. And then there's the Major League Baseball draft, which happens in early July. Now the thing is, in the draft, high schoolers can be drafted, and then if they decide to go to college instead of going pro, after 3 years they can be drafted. And there's a bunch of little edge cases. So just running a basic website, trying to track all this by hand, just really wasn't possible. So I've basically done this through a Django site. So this is just one of the models. This is the model that goes through what the players, all the information about the players. So we track anybody, whether they're a commitment from high school, if they're transferring from another school, if they, and then we have transactions, which just basically go through if something changes. Are they going to the draft combine? We assume that they're likely not going to be on the team, but we don't know that for sure until they are drafted. And then there's weird edge cases, like a player that was on a different college in 2021 gets a retroactive waiver because he was hurt that year, and the NCAA didn't grant that, so you got to be able to go back and correct those things. So this is the list of things that we currently track. The transfer portal. So if you followed any college sports, you know that it's now very easy to transfer from one college to another. That happens over the summer. We track who's been selected in the draft. So this is the draft. So this is an example of a couple players. The first one is a high schooler who's committed to play at Indiana, but now has been drafted. So we're waiting until the August 1st deadline to see if they're signed. This is another player, Connor Foley, who was at Indiana, was drafted, and signed with $1 million bonus. So you have commitments from the transfer portal, so players coming in, so that's something else we have to track. This is the way the site looks from my end, and what I can enter. And this is just, basic Django template along with a little HTML sprinkled in order to allow entering forms. This is some dealing with all of the edge cases. Again, not a professional programmer. I'll clean it up eventually. And eventually it produces this, which is the list of the however many players, and you'll count them, that are available, that we expect to show up for workouts in the fall. And that's at apps.iobase.com, and that's my information there.
Are you ready? Excellent. Next up is ready with I might not speak English, but I speak Python, and followed by Charles Severance. You are on deck. Do you have a, yeah, you got a mic there, or do you have any slides with you?
No, actually,
Okay. Cool.
it was the last minute thing that I got, so.
Love it. All right, go for it.
Hi everyone, I'm ready. I'm from Bolivia and I currently live in Chicago with my wife. This morning I went to take, for lunch, I went to take a small walk and I realized how lucky I am to be here. One of my dreams was always being like in a community out of my country, and this is where I am. So I started to think about realities and to think about where I came from, so I decided to write this. Some people will think that this is a letter, love letter to Python, so you can take it like that. It's not a technical language, so yeah, I'll start. I'm ready. I work since I was a kid. I come from a kind of poor family in Bolivia. I used to film weddings, concerts, that stuff with my dad. I used to work with my mom in a market, like a business, family business that we have. And we used to work like really hard, like even during Christmas or my New Year's Eve until pretty late in the night. So I'm used to work like really hard. And I was thinking that my life was going to be only like that, like there. I was not even thinking about going to university. Eventually, when I was at high school, I was buying some DVDs. It's like some films that I wanted to watch, and I found a Python DVD, and I said, yeah, why not? I can learn something. And I didn't know too much about programming. I knew that it was a thing, but I didn't know what it was really. So I learned I started to learn Python, and since then I've been doing Python. I literally, probably every week. I kind of love Python in that way. After that, I started to go to university. I enrolled to university. Unfortunately, I had to drop out because of the money. But then I found some job and I started to work as a machine learning engineer in one of the fanciest neighborhoods in my city. And it was a nice part of my life. Then I joined a company in Colombia, and there, as you can imagine, I was only speaking Spanish. Everything is Spanish. So one day, they told me, hey, do you speak English? And I was like, I guess so, yes, I speak English. And the next thing that I know is that they sent me to work with a US company. And I was not prepared for that. I didn't speak English. I mean, I knew a little bit, like how to say hi or bye, but that was all. So it was amazing, I guess. One of my first meetings was a mess. But then the guy that was giving me the onboarding, he started to show me some code. So I was, okay, I know code. Probably I don't understand whatever you're telling me, but I understand this. So I started to read the repo, the codes, all of that, and then suddenly everything that he was saying was starting to make like sense because I was understanding like the business logic and all of that stuff. So that was something good. So I got to be more involved like with that. So since then I've been working like only with I guess with US companies, and that was my way into learning probably some English. Some people, this is my last place. So some people say that Python is easy to learn because it's similar to English. So I probably learned English more easily because it was similar to Python.
Thank you very much, Freddie. Next up is Charles Severance, talking about Python plus auto racing equals Dodge Python. Sorry? Yes, and the next person up is Moshe Zaka after that. You are on deck. And no dad jokes right now, because I'm just really thirsty.
Oh my.
got one for you. So, dinosaurs, everybody says, like, oh, dinosaurs used to rule the earth. No, they did not. They were just alive. Stop giving them credit for administrative skills they almost certainly did not have. All right. Oh, this one will tie into our talk. This is great, very timely. Why didn't the orange win the race? It ran out of juice. Oh, and another car here. A dad washes his car with his son, but after a while, the son says, "Hey, why can't you just use a sponge?" Yes. All right. Ready to go, Charles?
I am ready.
Awesome. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Charles Severance. It's my first time coming to PyOhio. Some of you may have known me because of Python for Everybody, the world's most successful popular course taught on Coursera. You also may have seen me online at www.pyforio.com. I'm a University of Michigan professor, and I also am the leader of the Sakai Source Code Management System project. And if you're sick and tired of giving all of your data to large billion-dollar corporations to all your students, get a hold of it. So one of the things we do in the Sakai project is we have a mascot called the Tiger. It's a big, stuffed, ugly baby tiger. Not like car racers, so I decided that I would make a race car based on the Sakai. So I made 2 Dodge Neons with little ears, and they're really cute. And we drive around, have a lot of fun. And so that's why I receive in most of my talks. You see this little video, but this is the music thing. And it's also, the number of my race car is also the unlock code for my current C course, C programming for 42 is my car number. And I race in a racing series called the 24 Hours of Lemons, which is characterized by having fun, not being aggressive or competitive. It's just about fun. Including we're supposed to wear cool costumes when we do it. So we built our third neon, but we decided that the third neon was going to be an edgier car. So we put a ton of work into the engine. I don't want to tell you how much money got wasted in this engine. It has parts that were actually built by the factory in 1997 to make it super nasty. So as this car got more and more impressive, it sounded cooler and cooler. We started thinking about the Dodge Viper, which is one of the most dangerous and powerful production cars ever made in the world. And so we're like, oh man, we got a little neon, it's a Dodge, and so we ought to think about the Dodge Viper. So we decided to repaint our car with blue with white stripes, just like the Dodge Viper. But then we didn't really want to do a Viper, because that's a Viper. We wanted to Dodge something a little less tough. So I hired some graphic artists, and I said, I would like you to take the Viper logo plus the Python logo and create a logo that is a fusion of the Viper and the Python logo. And these are the two they came up with. One on the left, one on the right. How many people like the one on the left better? How many people like the one on the right better? Okay, I like the one on the left better because it looks more like an evil Python logo rather than the Dodge Viper logo with the word Python. But that was the one everyone else chose on my racing team. Also, a month or so back at the Pie Ladies auction, I paid way too much money for a cardboard cutout of Guido Van Rossum. So I thought, okay, I'm going to combine the Dodge Viper with the cardboard cutout of Guido Van. I wanted to make it look like he was driving the car because it's the Dodge Viper. But instead, I made really big stickers of Guido Van Rossum. Big stickers of Guido Van Rossum on the car. And the number's still 42. The other thing is I made costumes. I bought everybody.
Chris, good morning. Yeah, thanks, Rex. You grew hair. You grew hair. Yeah, I did. I'm starting to like having hair.
So I also have my ladies So we raced this little car for 2 days in Chicago, featuring Guido Van Rossum and the Dodge Python, and nice stickers if you want Dodge Python stickers.
some fun with Jupyter, Al Swigert is on deck.
Okay, cool. We didn't have too many jokes. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to show you the reports because they're not interesting, but that's kind of stuff, is easy stuff. You can do HTML, right? So that's fun, right? You can have some bold and italic stuff, right? Always nice in your outputs. But that's kind of, a bit simple. You can also, like, make a cool little circle with, but that's, fine, looks nice. But then even more nice, you can have video. So, we can have the in slider. And you can have an numeric slider. We will format them. We'll also have like a little bit of thing that those rectangles, exactly the right heights. We have a blue rectangle, a red rectangle, and this is something cool that you can, if you write a little bit of Python code, you can easily show your stuff. So, if you want to do dynamic searching in text, or, just like, filtering and slicing of the data, you don't need to do anything, and you can easily, draw pictures and draw graphs and do a lot of cool stuff with Jupyter. It's really underappreciated how cool this stuff is, even if you don't do data science, even if you just, do some DevOps stuff, and you just want to grab some things and kind of highlight it nicely so you see what is your status of the Kubernetes cluster, or if you do web development and you want to do some curling and kind of show a little bit of HTML so you can see the status, you can do that. Jupyter is a very, very useful tool for your day-to-day stuff. It makes it just a little bit of fun. I think it took maybe 1 or 2 minutes, but you can explore that on your own. I hope you enjoyed this much language.
Coming on the stage now is Al Swigert.
Right.
Rumor is that I am his equal twin. We just like the same kind of ass.
I don't have any tractor jokes.
No tractor jokes. I gotta do on that thing real quick though.
I asked ChatGPT for some tractor jokes.
Oh.
Yeah. Is this the okay? Yes.
On that is Sean Cassidy, just so you can get ready.
Okay. Why did the tractor break up with a lawnmower? It couldn't handle the cutting-edge competition. What? That's, if a tractor's dating with a lawnmower, they shouldn't be in competition with each other. That's not the basis of a good mechanical relationship there. Oh, man. When you stop a tractor from charging, take away its credit card. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah. You have to forgive ChatGPT, it was raised by the internet. Hey, I'm Al Swigert, and earlier this year I attended a thing called the Recurse Center. This is their website, recurse.com. I describe it as sort of an artist retreat for software developers. So you spend 12 weeks at their offices in downtown Brooklyn working on some software project that you always wanted to work on, and you're there working on software with other people who are working on their software projects, and it's great, it's a whole lot of fun, you meet people, you learn a lot. They also have 6-week half batches, and they also have a remote option. It's free to attend, but there's this application process, and it helps if you live in New York, so actually it's kind of really expensive. But if you are at a place in your life where you have 6 or 12 weeks, I really encourage you to apply. It's great. You should find out more about it anyway, or ask me questions. They have these things called the social rules, which I feel like PyCons and really a lot of tech meetups could use. These are the 4 social rules. They are no well actuallys, no feigned surprise, no backseat driving, and no subtle isms. So the Recurse Center has a code of conduct, like many organizations. The code of conduct is mandatory. It's not optional. You have to abide by those rules. But the 4 social rules are sort of more subtle than that. These are kind of mistakes where we all at some point. They're not terrible, but they're also not good. And so the idea is that, you know, if you find yourself making these, breaking these social rules, you can just quickly apologize and then move on from there. Let's go into some more detail. So, no well actuallys. This is probably pretty obvious. You know, somebody says something and you say, well, actually, it's GNU Linux, or you know, something like that. Yeah, this kind of derails conversations. It's not really helpful advice. So no well actually is there to just keep conversations going smoothly. Again, it's not the worst thing you could do in the world, but it does kind of put a speed bump on a lot of conversations. The next one is no feigned surprise. I actually think this is a very important one. Tech can be really intimidating, especially if you're around people with more experience than you. So you should never find yourself, you know, saying, you know, somebody asks a question like, oh, how does the X windowing system work? And you shouldn't say, oh, you don't know how that works. You know, don't feign surprise. That does not make anyone feel good. Everybody has gaps in their knowledge. You shouldn't make people feel bad by pretending that you're, oh, I'm surprised that you don't know all this already. There's lots of things that we don't know. No backseat driving. This is, especially when you're like listening in on other people's conversations, don't just interject with some advice that you think is helpful, but oftentimes it might not be helpful. Even if you are, you know, right about this, it's probably not that great. And no subtle isms. So of course the code of conduct covers sexism, racism, all the big isms. But there's occasionally times where, you know, we make these subtle isms. The one example they have on this website is, oh, this software is so easy to use, your mother could use it. It's like, oh, we don't have time to unpack all the assumptions you have about mothers in that statement. That's you know, not a big ism, but that is a subtle ism. I mean, we all just sort of swim in patriarchy and white supremacy and just plain ignorance about a lot of things. So these are small things that we will often do, and it helps to be in an organization or a social situation where we feel safe, having other people point out these things to us when we break these social rules, but also then that we can quickly apologize and move on and just do better. So these are things where if you're running a meetup or you're running a conference, you might want to think about checking out these rules and just sort of making it explicit of saying like, hey, these are social rules, here's some examples of this, and this is how we can make a lot of people a lot more comfortable to come to our meetups and other organized events. Yeah, that's it for me. Okay, thank you very much.
Next up, John Cassidy, to the stage, please. On deck, Abigail. Here you go. Hi. Yeah, careful with stairs, they are perilous. HDMI. You got that. Oh. Yes, I can. Can you set that right there for someone? Cool. So someone asked me to name two structures that hold water. I said, well, damn.
I'm okay with that.
I feel bad for saying.
Everybody knows this one probably. Why does Norway have barcodes on their battleships? So they Scandinavian. If by some chance you ever meet Don Quixote, don't tell him you're a big fan. Oh, here's another one. Speaking of this talented Alstock, my friend keeps telling me, cheer up. You are stuck in a deep hole in the ground filled with water. I know he means well.
Move it off center, but I can work with that.
All right.
So, a couple months back, I gave a presentation to my local Python users group, the Central Ohio
Python users group about Python and GraphViz. If you're not familiar with GraphViz, it's kind of an obscure thing. But what it does is you provide a description of a graph using a text language. As you can see there, you're creating a directed graph, and it has 3 nodes and how they're interconnected. Now, what happens with that file then? It gets run through one of the GraphViz executables. They're called layout engines. There's no executable named GraphViz and GraphViz, oddly enough. But you can run it through doc and it will generate a file for you. So, what I did is I wrote a script this past Tuesday. It has no documentation. If it had the version, it'd be like 0.0.3. And it's not pip installable yet. But what it does is it runs a pip list and a pip show command, scrapes the data out of those, and builds a dependency tree. Now, if you do that, you wind up with something like this, showing basically all your dependencies. The kind of like top level stuff is on the left. The stuff that everything is based upon is on the right. The way you run this script is you need to make sure that you have GraphViz needs to be, the GraphViz executables need to be on your path, and you also need to be in a virtual environment that has the GraphViz library. So the way you run this is just hit this, and you basically like the root of your file name, so it's going to generate a, in this case, a foo.gv and a foo.gv.svg. So hit that, and just, this one's a virtual environment with only a few dependencies, so it's really quick. It takes a minute for what I was showing you, the big graph here is basically all the dependencies within my Jupyter Notebook virtual environment. If you're interested in the scripts, like I said, I'll be making some changes, making this pip installable. But this is the repo. Let me zoom out. But github.com, Joe Passett, pipviz. Just pip-viz, and my GitHub is JOCASSIE. Thank you very much.
I love it, and I want that, so I'm gonna definitely put you after this.
Okay.
All right, next up is Abigail, speaking about Black Python devs, and after that on deck is Andrew Guerra. There you are, cool. And that will be our last lightning talk for this evening. All right, I got time to kill some time. Yes, it's a good point. I should remind you all that on our Discord is a channel called Let's Get Food for making new plans with like-minded people who also like to consume calories on regular basis and sustain a biological function. So check out Let's Get Food and maybe go get some food. While we sort this out, I will let you know that Dr. Frankenstein once entered a bodybuilding competition that found he had seriously misunderstood the objective. I identified with this one. Why did the clown have neck pain? Because he's not funny. Awesome. All right.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to Abigail. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Abigail Sernyamidoge. From Ghana. I currently live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Before I start my talk, I have a fun fact. I have 4 names. So my 4th name is Abner. which is a Ghanaian name for a female who was born on a Tuesday. So if you want to know your Ghanaian name, feel free, say hello and let me know the day you were born, and yeah, you can have a Ghanaian name. So yeah, I'd like to talk about Black Python there. So this community was founded by Jay Miller. Jay Miller gave a keynote at this year's PyCon US, and the video is up. I hope you are able to watch it when you can. So this community was born out of asking how do we get more Black people to experience the Python community. And since then, we've gathered Black Python developers from all over the world. We're sharing resources. We are supporting each other to thrive and then grow in the Python software community. What's generally our mission is to provide a safer, equitable, and accessible community where these people from all over the world can thrive and then grow. So we currently are at 600 members from different parts of the world, North America, South America, and Africa as well. So we are supported by, our communities like PSF, DSF, DEFNA, Django Space, and you definitely meet Black Python devs in these spaces or environments. This is my first time at PyOhio, and I have met some people from our community, and folks who are also very much interested in joining it. So it's exciting. We are also powered by GNOME Foundation. GNOME Foundation is our current physical sponsor, and we are very grateful to them as well. So this year we are, excited to be a part of PyOhio by being sponsors, and we are looking forward to also continuing in 2025, 2026, and hopefully we can also keep doing more. These are just, pictures of some awesome Black Python devs. We've been trying to meet up, and these are just some pictures from DjangoCon US last year. And yeah, DjangoCon US is coming up again in September in North Carolina. I hope you are able to attend. What can you do? How can you be a part of this? You can join Black Python devs. So you are going to do that. You can also support us in different ways. Financially, we also gather resources for our community members as well. We keep sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. So do join us if you're interested in also sharing whatever resources that you might have. Connect with us as well on these different social media platforms. Come on in, our doors are open. Come, let's have conversations, make connections as well. This is our email address, you can connect with us. So we currently have a booth at the sponsors lobby. Please feel free, drop by, grab a sticker, grab a Black Python t-shirt, talk with us at the Black Python Devs booth. Thank you.
On behalf of PyOhio, thank you for being here, and thank you for your sponsorship and your support. It means a lot.
Thank you.
All right, our last lightning talk of the day is from Andrew, speaking about find these videos at pyvideo.org. I hope I didn't spoiler it like I did.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Very good.
yeah. We should add that to the application form next time, like, okay, to use my title or not. Yeah, so, yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll take that in the retro booth in a minute.
So let's give a round of applause for the AV team. Someone at lunch today asked me if I happen to know where those can be found, and I did, and I thought I'd share it with everybody so you know. The simple answer is YouTube, that all the they're all there, right, on the extremes, 19 onwards. But I think the better answer is PyVideo.org. How many people know PyVideo.org? A bunch of people. All right, so I'm not affiliated with them. So there's just the latest talk with the events. There's a lot of events. All the events, it's been tracking everything that's been going on in the Python community, conferences big and small, including PyOhio here. There we go. So going back to 2010, and you can see all the conference talks. So they're all there. The well-tempered API, that's a good one. We haven't seen that. But also, besides just sorting on events, they also have tags. So if you're curious about one particular thing and want to find good talks like at conferences without relying on YouTube's search engine, which might not give you the full compendium of talks on a certain subject, you can see that there's lots of tags here. And it's probably missing a few, and I'm sure that the folks at pyvideo.org appreciate if you tag videos that are missing tags. But again, I'm not. I just wanted to let people know that if you, at the end of this conference and you're jonesing for more videos and talks on Python, that's the best resource that I have. So enjoy it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.